I was reflecting just yesterday on my contempt for the story in Texas that is played out ritually on a very recurrent basis of the legend of Yellow Rose. You see, when I first encountered the story regarding the legend of Yellow Rose was a woman who survived the Alamo. She had a baby. After the attack on the Alamo, the Mexican forces entered into the area, and Santa Anna himself approached the Yellow Rose and saw her with her child and commented on her survival and discussed with her at that time how he wanted to respect her and he wanted to assure that she understood that she was not the target and that the Mexican government would be happy to repatriate her and her child in Mexico, and that they would provide her child with the finest education available in Mexico and raise her child as if her child were a member of Mexican society. And story was that the Yellow Rose said she would not accept that she was not going to turn herself over to the Mexicans as well as her child, and that she preferred to leave. So Santa Anna said, "You can leave. Fine, I won't stop you." And its story was that the Yellow Rose and her child and one older man who was left of the survivors left the Alamo and they began walking. And at a certain point, they encountered Sam Houston and Sam Houston's forces. Now, I had not by this time known the story of what had happened to Sam Houston and the Texas forces prior to the meeting with Yellow Rose, about what had happened in terms of their defeat, but also in terms of what presented itself as a possibility for some sort of resumption and potential later success. But the story of Yellow Rose is that she found Houston, and Houston spoke with her specifically, and she recounted the story of what had happened at Alamo, what she had seen, what had happened, how she had in her encounter with Santa Anna, and how she came to arrive to speak directly with him. And the understanding was that him, as well as all of the other Texans with whom he was at the time, were invigorated. They were encouraged. It was a triumph. She resisted. She survived. She refused to concede. And somehow she made it to them. This is the story I first encountered as Yellow Rose. This is who I understood she was. She was a first mother of Texas. That's kind of what I understood the standard of motherhood in Texas was and should be. But that's not the story they want to tell of Yellow Rose now. In Austin, they have a monument that presumably is to black history in Texas. They have bronze plates side by side, and they have a different story of the Yellow Rose. I don't think it's an accurate story. I think that it was recharacterized ex post facto as an act of libel. And I don't accept it. The problem is that there is supposed to be an acceptance that this is a legend, a Texas legend, and that it is supposed to be honored because that is part of the culture. But it's not. Now, I wasn't born in Texas, but some of the first governors, senators, congresspeople, judges, justices, what you might call good men, honorable men, bad men of Texas, were born in Virginia. They weren't born in Texas. I've been disturbed. There have been reports that people have been going and they've been tearing down statues. They've been demanding that monuments be removed. Why has not one person taken a crowbar and pried off that contemptible act of defamation on the women of Texas and the United States, sitting right on the Capitol grounds in Austin, Texas? Why did you not remove that plaque? Why did you not demand that they cease and desist with these reprehensible actions? It's kind of difficult to take anything that anyone alleging that they're a member of the executive, legislative, or judicial branches of the Texas government seriously when every day you attempt to conduct the business of the people with that grotesque misrepresentation of who we are. Even if you're trying to attract tourism or try to project some image of weirdness as a way to try to stimulate somebody's impulses. Whatever the justification, there is no justification. And I do believe that one act of libel is so significant and severe that it inherently repudiates the authority of everybody saying they are a actor or a agent or a representative of the state of Texas within the state of Texas or outside of the borders of the state of Texas, including in the federal government. Every single one of you that refused to correct for the error on the record shows yourself willfully engaged with intent to libel your own people and to deceive anybody else you would encounter by allowing for that horrific story to continue promulgation. Now, what if you're somebody that's representing another group of people and you arrive in Texas, including after what you understand to be a tragic event in the history of those people, and you meet the First Lady and somebody hands you a yellow rose?